major deal for private sector. Defence Ministry inks 5,000 crore rupee project with L&T, Tata in a major boost for the private industry. The Defence Ministry is inking an estimated 5,000 crore deal to manufacture indigenous Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launchers for the army that is likely to generate several hundred jobs in the coming months. The contract, which has been in the making since 2017, will go to private sector companies Larsen & Toubro and Tata Aerospace and Defence, with a significant portion of work also falling into public sector unit BAML, which supplies the trucks for the rocket launchers. The Pinaka program has been a homegrown success story, with 2 regiments already in service and technology transfer successfully executed by DRDO to the private sector for manufacturing the systems as well as ammunition. Out of the 6 new regiments, L&T has been awarded the contract to manufacture 4, while the balance 2 will be made by Tata Aerospace and Defence. This would be one of the largest orders placed on the private sector in India from the Army. ET had reported in May that the Pinaka program had been identified to be fast-tracked, both to boost the private industry during the coronavirus crisis and to utilize money saved from delays in delivery of weapon systems currently being imported. As reported by ET, the first ever rockets fully manufactured by the private sector have also been successfully test-fired by the Army this month. The Pinaka rockets were tested at a firing range in Pokharan and achieved the desired results by accurately hitting targets. The rockets have been manufactured by Economic Explosives Limited, EL, and are the first munition of its kind made by the private sector in India. They are also a success story for DRDO that has been engaging with the private sector to transfer manufacturing technology for home-developed systems. DRDO has also successfully tested an extended-range guided Pinaka rocket that can hit targets at a distance of 75 kilometers, a significant boost from the current range of 40 kilometers. The Pinaka was developed by DRDO to replace imports from Russia for the BM-21 Grad multi-barrel rocket launchers. Desperate Imran Khan now makes excuses to Pak terrorists, admits loss to India's diplomacy. Pakistan's economy will be shattered due to inflation and the value of Pakistani rupee will fall drastically if the country is blacklisted at the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, Prime Minister Imran Khan warned on Sunday. Citing Iran's example, Khan said, if Pakistan is put on FATF's blacklist, then no international financial institutions would deal with the country. The same would impact the Pakistani rupee and there are no foreign reserves to save its value from dropping, he added. The nervous Prime Minister further said, once rupee falls, the price of commodities including electricity, gas and oil will increase and the entire economy of Pakistan would be destroyed due to inflation. Pakistan has been on FATF's grey list since June 2018. The government was given a final warning in February to fulfill its commitments and improve transparency in financial dealings and take action on terror funding. The FATF extended the June deadline to September due to the coronavirus pandemic that interrupted the FATF plenary meetings. Blames India for being on the blacklist. In yet another shameless attempt, Imran Khan blamed India for trying to push his country on the blacklist. He said, for 2 years, India has been trying to blacklist Pakistan by lobbying with the international community. The FATF is an intergovernmental body established in 1989 to battle out money laundering, terrorist financing and other related threats to the integrity of the international financial system. The Paris-based body will meet in October and further actions related to Pakistan's listing will be on its agenda. In order to avoid FATF blacklist, Pakistan needs to demonstrate the effectiveness of sanctions including remedial actions to curb terrorist financing in the country. It will also need to ensure improved effectiveness for terror financing of financial institutions against all United Nations 1267 committee-designated international terrorist. The list includes Pulwama attack mastermind Masood Azhar and 1993 Mumbai blast mastermind Dawood Ibrahim. The country is yet to take action against illegal money or value transfer services, MVTS, such as Jandi Hawala. As per estimates by the Pakistani government, grey listing at FATF is causing damage of around $10 billion annually to the country. Amid border tensions with India, China constructs missile site at Kailash-Mansarovar amid tensions with India over the standoff in eastern Ladakh sector. China has reportedly built a surface-to-air missile near a lake, which is a part of the Kailash-Mansarovar. The development of the missile, according to experts, is a continuation of the aggressive provocation by the Chinese, and it could further complicate the border tensions between the two countries, the Epoch Times reported. Mount Kailash and Lake Mansarovar, commonly known as the Kailash-Mansarovar site, is revered by four religions and is linked to culture and spiritual scriptures in India. While the Hindus consider the site as the abode of Shiva and his consort Parvati, the Tibetan Buddhists call the mountain Kongren Poche, the precious one of glacial snow, and revere it as the abode of Taimchog and his consort, Dorje Phagmo. The Jains call the mountain Ashtapura and consider it to be the place where the first of their 24 spiritual masters achieved liberation. The Bons, adherents of the pre-Buddhist religion of Tibet, term the mountain Tase and revere it the dwelling place of the sky goddess, Sipa Imain. The placing of the missile at the sacred site, which is also the origin of four transnational rivers, Indus, Brahmaputra, Satluj, and Karnali, a major tributary of the Ganges, menaces India, which has refused to back down against Chinese aggression on the line of actual control, LAC. In my view, first and foremost, it is a continuation of the Chinese provocation against India, which we are seeing all along from the Lak in Ladakh to the eastern and middle sector bordering areas with India. Priyajit Debsharkar, author and a geopolitical analyst with the London-based think tank Bridge India, told the Epoch Times in an email. This move, of deploying a surface-to-air missile in Tibet, should not surprise us. It is pure authoritarian brinkmanship and provocation to India, which has refused to back down against Chinese threats and aggressive aggression, Debsharkar said. India and China are engaged in a standoff since April to May over the transgressions by the Chinese army in multiple areas including Finger area, Galwan Valley, Hot Springs and Kongrung Nala. In June, 20 Indian soldiers died in a violent face-off with Chinese troops in eastern Ladakh. Talks between the two sides have been going on for the last 3 months, including 5 lieutenant general level talks, but have failed to yield any results so far. Aparna Pandey, a research fellow and the director of the Washington-based Hudson Institute's Initiative on the Future of India and South Asia, told the newspaper that China does not respect and believe in religion and culture. We have to bear in mind that the Chinese do not care about Christianity. They do not care about any of the ancient Chinese practices. They believe religion is the opium of the masses and the only ideology they care about is their form of communism, Pandey said. They don't care about symbols and symbolism except those that are tied to the Chinese Communist Party, she was quoted as saying. Harsh Pant, a New Delhi-based strategic analyst with the Observer Research Foundation, ORF, echoed similar sentiments and stated that China's move of creating military infrastructure at Kailash-Mansarovar will only intensify the anti-China sentiment within India. The fact that this happens to be one of the most sacred religious sites for the Hindus is also indicative of the disdain Beijing has for Indian sentiments, Pant said. This is only going to accentuate tensions in an already troubled relationship and will not only make Indian public even more antagonistic to China but will also make Indian policymakers even more determined to stand up to China, he added. The missile base at Kailash-Mansarovar is a part of China's greater militarization of the Tibet Autonomous Region, TAR, according to Girish Kant Pandey, professor of defense studies at the Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University in Raipur. The missile mounted near Kailash-Mansarovar is called DF-21. It is a medium-range, 2,200 km ballistic missile. Its advantage is that it can cover all cities of North India, including New Delhi, Pandey told the Epoch Times over the phone. From 2006 to 2010, China carried out 180 strategic projects, which it did not mention in its defense budgets. These projects include constructing 4 large airstrips, 14 small airstrips and 17 radar stations on the India-China frontier from east to west, Pandey said. Earlier today, An Indian Army spokesperson said the Indian Army has thwarted an attempt by the Chinese Army to transgress into Indian areas near the southern bank of Pangong Tso near Chushul in Ladakh on the intervening night of Saturday and Sunday, and talks are being held now to resolve the issue there. On the night of August the 29th to the 30th, PLA troops violated the previous consensus arrived at during military and diplomatic engagements during the ongoing standoff in eastern Ladakh and carried out provocative military movements to change the status quo, said Army spokesperson Colonel Imran in a statement. The Indian Army took measures to strengthen its position and thwart Chinese intentions to unilaterally change facts on the ground. Meanwhile, Aparna Pandey stated that China has placed missiles aiming at Japan, Taiwan, Australia, the US and ASEAN countries. From their point of view, it is also important to now start placing missiles in the areas where they can target India and the Indian Ocean region. So Kailash-Mansarovar helps with that, Pandey said. Debshirkar noted that another reason for China's missile at the Kailash-Mansarovar site is a response to India, which recently built a road to a Himalayan pass of strategic value. He said the missile site is meant to provoke India as it has constructed a road up to Lippo Lake, the Epoch Times reported. India's objective is, however, to facilitate our pilgrimage visiting Kailash, by making it much easier, especially it's dangerous to cross the pre-existing treacherous path. The Chinese establishment is against the massive road construction across the Indo-China border, he said. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had inaugurated a strategic road till Lippo Lake Pass on May 8. However, Nepal objected to it, claiming that Lippo Lake is a part of its territory. Subsequently, the Himalayan nation issued a new controversial map incorporating Indian territories of Karlapani, Lippo Lake, and Limpiyathrar. In response, India said the updated map of Nepal is not based on historical facts and evidence and termed the claims by Kathmandu as artificial enlargement. Regional Airline will launch flights to the northeast and central India from Bengaluru under Udan scheme. Flybig, a regional airline that is gearing up to have its first commercial flight by mid-October under the Ure Desh Ka Aam Nagrik (UDAN) project, would become the first airline to launch a new service in the COVID-19 era. The airline that is promoted by Big Charter has received a no-objection certificate from the Ministry of Civil Aviation and is in the process of getting Air Operator's certificate with a fleet of aircraft comprising ATR 72-500S and the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL manufactured Dornier Do-228, upgraded, civil aircraft. As we will be operating under the Udan scheme, we would have flight services to many sectors in the northeast and central India which are typically not airports but airstrips where the ATRs cannot operate. The 17-seater Dornier Do-228 is an ideal aircraft to operate from these sectors, Rajarshi Sen, CFO, Big Charter Private Limited told Bangalore Mirror. He added that the airline has been holding talks with HAL to get 3 Do-228s as a committed order and 3 more as an optional order. We are holding talks with the HAL management and have already signed a letter of intent, LOI. Commercial discussions are going on with them. Getting the Do-228s from HAL would also mean supporting the Make in India initiative, he added. Earlier in February, the Bengaluru headquartered HAL had received the modification document of Do-228, upgraded, civil aircraft from the DGCA to produce the aircraft for the Udan scheme. According to HAL, the Do-228s will be equipped with a digital cockpit which will ensure more accurate readings, precise information and ergonomic data displays with feedback loops and capability for self-check to alert pilots in emergencies. Besides, it said that it has also incorporated civil-certified turboprop-10 engine to ensure more reliable torque sensing system, higher component life, lighter in weight and higher time between overhaul, TBO as compared to previous -5 engine. In the coming years, there would be a demand for over 200 aircraft under the Udan scheme. Meanwhile, Flybig's proposed network is to have a base in Indore, Guwahati, and Varanasi. The airline has bid for a minimum viability gap funding, VGF, of 313 crore for FY 2020-21. The VGF will be allowed for a period of 3 years from date of allotment. What does it mean for HAL? In the coming years, there would be a demand for over 200 aircraft under the Uran scheme. Apart from HAL, NIL is also involved in the development of its 19-seater aircraft series, and both the aircraft are competing to be the Make in India aircraft to operate under the Uran scheme. While the series is still under developmental stage, HAL has an upper hand as two civil demonstrator aircraft of the DO-228-201 have already been manufactured and certificate of airworthiness has already been received from DGCA. With this, HAL, which has so far been involved only with the production of military aircraft, will be entering into the civilian domain.